Hey Casa, how you doing? Berserk C4 is better. You're just plain wrong, sir. Best by test. That is what the great Bobby Fischer told us, Dan. And we trust in Bobby Fischer. Gundilu, 1e4 for the win. Yes. Hey Snakey, how you doing? And also, there may be some people in the Chess24 chat. So I'll have that on my screen as well. Okay, everyone. What we're going to do today is that we have gotten some submissions for our special competition. The best game featuring the Hammer Repertoire in October will win 6 months extension to their membership. And the reason I say extension is because the Hammer Repertoire is only available with a Chess24 premium membership. So if you do not have access to this revolutionary new opening video series, then this is the time for you to get in there, get a 1 month subscription using code HAMMER, very important, and then play some good games with the repertoire to make that 1 month turn into 7 months. That would be my strategy, at least. Hey Dirk, hey big boy, hey Jam, how's everyone doing? Hey Sean. Yeah, Snakey. Well, I cannot say that I'm working late hours, but I am a bit tired. I'm not feeling it today for some reason. It's a struggle. Okay, so we have some games already submitted. So we're going to start by looking through those games. And if during the course of this stream you decide that you want to be considered for this prize, then you should use your fingers to do Control C. Just copy the link from your Chess24 game history using the Hammer Repertoire and say this is a game worthy of attention, and I'll put you on the on our very secret list of contenders. You need more spicy options to buy. Yeah, we're thinking about it, Max. Honestly, I was supposed to add raid, decide who we're gonna raid functionality, but I forgot to do that. So that's gonna that's gonna be some other day. And as it I'm gonna have to come up with something, because as you say, Twitch's default settings for using the in-game the in-channel currency is not amazing. String Dog coming in with a 3-month resub using his Twitch Prime. Wow. String Dog is one of the top video editors in the chess community. He's done work with Botes and with chess.com. So getting his Prime, that feels pretty special. Is this an opening video for E4 players? Yoon, the video series is 17 videos. With a length, total length, all the videos combined, it's 7 hours. So it's not just one video; it's a collection of videos covering 1e4 and all the possible openings that arise from that. Hey, Pizza Racer. I'm not familiar with Torketil RBT. You got your hammer cup for staying hydrated? It's here somewhere, Snakey. I believe it was last seen in the dishwasher, and now it may have found a place in the cupboards. Hey Polika, hey Appier. How are you guys doing? Okay. RT Dialer. Hello. Okay, so we're going to start out with, let's call it game number 1. Which is the first game that was submitted into the competition. It's a game between Full and Sippo. And it starts out with e4. Isn't it awfully easy to counter e4 with the unbeatable Sicilian defense? Yes, working class hero. That is unfortunately a problem with playing that first move. Yeah, Kudo, we're doing chess today. Fortnite got me tilted real bad. I think the reason I'm not in such a good mood today is because I'm distraught by yesterday's Fortnite performance. I really fancy myself a decent player, and yesterday was not decent. Galuna said, I will be doing commentary for VG during Fisher Random World Championships. However, unfortunately, we will not have a big studio. So it's basically going to be a kind of one-man show. It's pretty much a Twitch broadcast. Just broadcasted on VG's webpage and channels. Hey Cobra, how are you doing? Wow, Kudo. From 1500 to 900, it seems like you have some potential to gain that back though. Yeah, let's not mention the war, working class hero. The guy played Sicilian against me. The repertoire didn't work in that case. Okay, so e4 was played. Alyekin's defense with knight f6, provoking white to move forward in the center. And then after knight d5, d4, d6, it's important to remember what the hammer recommendation is. And I said initially that it's important to, develop your pieces and get your king to safety. So naturally, my recommendation against the Alyekin is just moving the knight into the game. And after g6, bishop c4 is also the recommendation we had. Attacking the knight and developing the bishop. What could be better? Knight steps back, bishop steps back because it's under attack. And after bishop g7, we castle. So far, perfect play from Flul. The opponent also castled. And now a4, very interesting. Trying to go a5, grabbing space on the edge of the board. And after d5, a5 does come. And honestly, d5 is not a great move. Because what black wants here is to have pressure towards the center. Black wants to kind of get the bishop up here, the knight to c6. Just make sure that you're attacking the square on e5 and the square on d4. So d5 is already a strategic mistake because it closes down the center and means that white can pretty much roam free for the continuation. a5 played, knight c4, h3. I like this move because we're making sure that this bishop cannot get into the game. And then b6, okay. And full plays bishop takes c4. Maybe we should wait to do this game review until he's here. But I can already reveal to you. I feel better revealing this to you guys since he's not here. Oh, he's here. Oh, man. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Rip the bishop pair. Thank you, Rob. That is the correct comment. Jam Snacker also commenting. This man voluntarily gave away his bishop. That is an automatic disqualification. I mean, that cannot come as a big surprise. If you're nominating a game where you give away the bishop unprovoked, I'm not going to reward that kind of behavior. What are you thinking? Look at your central pawns. I don't care about your central pawns. Look at the bishops. Kasa and Snakey using the respect the bishops emotes. Very good use of those. Okay, we'll take a look at your central pawns, fool, but let's just say you're already in trouble for winning with this game. Okay, black did take it back. Fool plays d5. He's very proud that he got good central pawns, but it's also about whether or not you can support these pawns. And I feel like a move like e6 might immediately pose some questions. Bishop b7 and then e6. I'm not convinced. b5 is played, rook e1, and then c6. Okay, so black is challenging these advanced pawns in white's camp, but I'm not sure this was the best way to challenge, because now you're kind of blocking your own bishop. The bishop, if it had come to b7, would have had a really nice diagonal. And even if, in this kind of variation, even if you don't get rid of your doubled pawns, it's still a better way of doing things if it means that your bishop can have a better future. Although here maybe a6 first to defend the pawn that was attacked by the knight. You have another game that's all about the bishops. Yeah, I hope so, fool. Because this one ain't winning it. Pawns are temporary, bishops are for life, says Mr. Dodgy. You won't be happy about my game. Ooh, Eddie is already nervous. I think this is a good hint to chat. If you're going to win this competition, you gotta quick development, pawns in the center. Fool did do that to his credit. But also you gotta respect them bishops. Okay. So what happened? c6 was played, d6. This is also kind of a risky move because this pawn on d6 is quite vulnerable and it can sometimes become a major asset and sometimes you just have a really tough time defending it. Bishop e6, very good move, making sure that you can go bishop d5 in some variations, making sure that the queen no longer is protecting the pawn on d6. Knight c3. Yeah, good move. Making sure that bishop to d5 doesn't happen. Knight d7. Knight g5. Okay, yeah. And now I feel like bishop takes c3 could have been a good move. Because after takes back, then bishop d5. And this d5 square is just such an amazing spot for black's pieces. Would you give up a bishop for a rook? Rob, you can turn that around and you can ask, would I give up a rook for a bishop? And the answer to that is yes, but we're not talking about it. I gave up a rook for a bishop and I lost the game. So sometimes I practice what I preach, but it doesn't always work out in my favor. Hey Perpetual, how you doing? Hey Coach. Okay, so I think bishop takes c3 there was a great moment. And also if you take on e6, then just takes back. And no matter what happens, there's going to be a piece on this d5 square. And that piece is just so powerful. I feel like even here where black has given away a pawn, the pawn on d6 is very unlikely to survive long term. And the knight on d5 is just such a monster. So this is what can happen when you move your pawns up too aggressively in the center. It leaves a lot of weaknesses. And in this case, the square on d5 I find very, very tempting to use for black. However, after knight c5, then bishop e3, this is a different story. Because now the knight is chased back and you get rid of the piece that was going to get itself to the d5 square. And now in this situation, black is still, like two moves away from getting a piece to d5. So if you use your time well, maybe you can prevent that. Okay, you did not prevent that. Knight e4. Ooh, very tricky. Very, very tricky. And now the bishop gets captured on e7. But then knight c5 puts pressure on the queen and works together with this passed pawn. And after queen e8, you didn't even take the knight, because then you would be a pawn down. Instead, d7, attacking the queen. And when the queen moves, you're going to take on e6. And it's impossible to stop this pawn from becoming a new queen. Very clever. Very clever. That's a nice combination. Letting black take that bishop and then just striking back with the central pawn. We talked about it at the beginning. The big question here is whether or not that pawn is going to become a weakness or a strength. And clearly, the way this went down, that pawn was the MVP of this game. Outstanding move, says Kasa. This is what happened, Tankan. The knight came into e6, and the queen is stuck. No matter what the queen does, it doesn't really matter, because you're about to get a new queen yourself. And he also moved the queen to a square where it could just be captured. And at that point, the opponent wasn't really interested in prolonging the fight. Hey, Perinos. Devastating attack, all due to giving up the bishop. I'm not sure I agree with that assessment, Pizza Racer. I can agree that it was a devastating attack. I'm not sure giving up the bishop is the right person to credit for it. Okay, Flo, well done. Good game. But I think the disrespect of the bishop... I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is going to win it. We have another submission from Flo. He has been the best one at exploiting this competition and the potential 6-month premium membership to the winner. So next game, and since he is in chat at the moment, we'll take a look at this one as well. This is Flo versus the Joker. Okay, let's see what happened. Gave up the bishop and still crushed? No, we're not encouraging people to give up the bishop, Flo. That's not how it works. If I reward you after giving up the bishops, then someone might think that that's okay. And it's not. Inflation is real. Let's just say that the price level has been adjusted, Perpetual. And so I think we've found a let's just say we've found a price level for the hammers where they're not being used by everyone every half an hour. From 300 to 2,000? Yeah, but you just be happy it was not 3,000, Perpetual. All the other things, I just added a 0. And also we're adding the raid, choosing who to raid. But we're going to need to find a price level for that. I suspect it's going to be in the 50,000 range. Okay, let's see what happened. He played 1 e4. Who saw that coming? And Scandinavian was Joker's response. Captures. Knight comes out. Good move, developing. Queen goes back. We take the center with our pawn. And then we develop our knight. We develop our bishop. I approve very much of White's play so far. That's one way of doing it, Perpetual. Okay, castles on move 7. That's pretty decent. Bishop b7, bishop e3. Look at this development. I mean, you're getting all your pieces into the middle. Knight f6, knight e5. Okay, having finished development, we're going for aggression. Bishop d6, f4. Very aggressive, I gotta say. But I feel like you can justify your aggression because it's kind of the logical next step after having developed all the minor pieces, getting your king into safety. You know, you can start some attacks. Castles, queen d2, h6. Ooh, h6 I think is a big mistake because he's just moving this pawn on this side of the board without any real purpose. It really made more sense for him to get the knight into the middle. This h6 move, I think, is number one, it's a waste. I think nothing good comes of it. But also, I think bad things come of it. I feel like this pawn now could be an attacking target for some kind of bishop takes h6 sacrifice, or maybe like g4, g5, opening up everything. Planet Chess Club coming in with a rate of 19. How you doing, people? My name is Jon Ludwig. I'm not very good at introducing myself for raids. Sometimes I take it for granted. People know who I am. I shouldn't do that. I am Jon Ludwig. We are reviewing games using the Hammer Repertoire, trademark pending, which is a 1e4 opening video series available on Chess24. Recommending the Bobby Fischer move 1e4. The best chess playing person in the world streaming for you right now. I appreciate the raid, Planet Chess Club. Why can't I see that design in my account? Asks Mac. I don't know. I went into the settings. I think you click your head in the top right corner and go to my profile. And somehow I found this board in the settings. Hey CJ, how are you doing? Botes has no idea about Jon Ludvigsen, working class hero, but she knows more than anything, than most people know about pronouncing Norwegian names. Okay, so this H6 move I'm not a fan of, and I am a fan of Flo just continuing developing pieces, getting that rook into the game. That's nice. And after knight d5, he once again loses out on the chance to win this prize. People, if you're playing this game, what move would you make? This is a quiz for everyone. Bishop f2, yeah, almost, Jake, but you have the right idea. Knight g4, I'm not a big fan. Knight takes d5, I think is my favorite Slumka. Knight takes d5, I think that. So Elephant Bush suggests f5, which is also what Flo did. And he gives away the bishop pair. Can you believe it, guys? Second game in a row. He has shown a lack of respect for bishops now. Twice. And you guys are making fun of me for being such a kind of, pedantic about the bishop pair and going on and on and on about it. But I have to. Because you guys, you're not listening. You're doing everything other than listening when I talk. I can't explain it otherwise. I tell you guys to respect your bishops, to not let the opponents capture it. And yet, you keep doing it time after time. Okay, Fool is defending himself. Mate is better than respecting the bishops. Okay. That is your opinion, sir. Okay, takes back. I will agree that rook g3 is coming. Which could be dangerous because black hasn't really developed any pieces. And white has done a great job. Really helped by the opening repertoire, I feel. White has done a great job of getting the pieces into play. If God wanted bishops to be paired, it wouldn't be a sin. Perpetual, sometimes you're just good. Most of the time you're a bit strange, but sometimes you're a complete genius. How do we make this a meme? I've been looking at the Reddit that Alexandra made yesterday. So I feel like I am in a very meme mood because it's just tons of memes on that page. But how do we kind of illustrate that comment? Do we just have a picture of God? Or do we have like two bishops next to each other? Or like one of these medieval bishops where they have like the Pope's hat and stuff like that. That is such a good comment. I'm just right now I'm putting it in a text document and I'm not sure where to save it. That's my only concern right now. Which file on my computer do I use to save brilliant quotes? I mean, Perpetual, I take it for granted. You understand I'm going to steal this, right? Let's see. Notepad is the name of that. If God wanted bishops to be paired, it wouldn't be a sin. It's just so good. Let's do the random thoughts, and we'll call it Bishop meme, and we'll credit the author. Perpetual stalemate. 23rd October. Hey Ulan, how you doing? Hey Vila. You love your Bishop's Planet Chess Club? I'm glad to hear that. We respect those guys on this stream. We very rarely give them away, and when we do, or when others do, we give them a hard time. Where do you credit your sense of humor? I don't know, Elephant. This is getting weird? No. I thought that's within reason. Okay, so taking on f3, f5 takes back. Now, I feel like at some point I would actually play bishop takes e5. Because if you take back with the rook, then you lose the rook to a tactic. So you have to take back with the pawn. And then when you take on f5, you have damaged white's pawn structure. But it could still be dangerous with this rook coming to g3. But also you have that ability to go queen d4 at some point. So, you know what? Maybe we're going to cheat. No, we cannot cheat because we cannot scroll. Play this position. Autoplay. Auto commentator. What is that? Do you guys know what this is? Auto commentator? Play this position. Settings. Leaderboard? Maybe settings? How do I get computer analysis on this game? Anyone know? Well, I cannot scroll full. That messes up my layout. Okay, I think we'll trust full that it's a pretty devastating attack. Because frankly, he has put 5 of his pieces going up against black's king. So it does look pretty intimidating, especially in a blitz game. It looks pretty strong. And then rook h5, threatening rook takes h6. That's very brute force. And honestly, there's not a lot you can do about it. Wow, Joker tried queen f6, but that just hangs the knight. And then after queen e6, bishop f5, and he just gave away the queen to make sure that those guys stopped coordinating against the h6 square. Wow, rook takes h6, that feels really unnecessary. Queen f6 is queen f4 is made in 3. Okay, so he gave away the bishop, but frankly, I think we might excuse him because this was a very nice attack. And I really like the way you kind of executed your attack also, Flo, because you really showed the power of development. And that's really what the opening is all about, this opening series. That as long as you focus on the basics, which is, developing your pieces, you can get some really devastating attacks. You don't need to play fancy-pantsy, memorize all the theory kind of stuff. In this instance, you just put your pieces in the center and you really focused on getting the rooks into play and just inviting all your pieces to the party, I believe the chess coaches call it. And that was well executed. Random name? No, I'm not going to watch the Fisher Random Championship. I'll be in downtown Oslo doing commentary on it. The championship itself is being played in Bærum. It's with public transport, it's honestly a bit far away from me. It's like 40 minutes by bus. Okay, well done, Fool. I think that was a really nice attack. Okay, next up, we're doing all the full submissions. Remember, everyone, that if you want to participate in this contest, it's open to everyone. Just send us a link to your Chess24 game history. So you can go to your game history, and then you can press go to game and just copy that URL. And put it in chat, and we'll review the game. Hammer Repertoire only, though. We're promoting the Repertoire. VG doesn't have a car. Well, VG has studios in a different location. Working class hero. That's the main issue. I'm busy. That's fair, Set Nation. I like Flo's chances to win so far. He's the only one who has submissions. Yes, perpetual stalemate. I believe that is part of his strategy. Will we do an hour of analyzing my games every week now? As long as you keep submitting them, I think so, yes. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. And this is Flo playing against Steve. Steve was the victim of the Hammer Repertoire. Yeah, but not for this one, Working Class Hero. NRK is doing on-site studio, though. Okay, E4 once again. This time it's a Sicilian opening. Interesting. Knight F3, Knight C6. The Rossolimo, Bishop B5, getting ready to castle on move 4, which is the earliest possible move to castle in regular chess. D6, castles, knight into the center, threatens the pawn, rook defends, and after E5, Flo goes C3 and D4 to put pressure in the center. Wonderful, wonderful play. You can see how my rating dropped playing 1E4 trying to win a brilliant game. But Flo, why do you need to win a brilliant game? I mean, you don't know how I'm going to judge the competition. I really like your previous game, but mostly because it shows the advantages of just completely focusing on developing your pieces. Hey Peter, thank you so much for the 10-month resub. And the guy in Incognito coming in with a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much. Yes, Host Pud. It's I'm number 3, but we don't mention the war. Nicola coming in with a tier 2 sub for 6 months, getting the golden hammer in the process. Thank you so much, Nicola. Okay, D4. I really like your play so far. It's been very instructive, Flo. Let's move forward. Takes, 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 takes. See? White has better control in the center. White has a pawn further advanced than black. Black has now an isolated pawn on the D file. White also has castled. Look at all the good things that happen when you develop your pieces. Okay, bishop d7, knight c3. I like it. Knight takes c6. That's fine. I probably would have preferred bishop f4, but it's fine. Takes, 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 takes. It's still good. And even though black no longer has an isolated d pawn, it's still a worse pawn structure for black because there's still 3 pawn islands. So this is all still good. Bishop e3, getting the rook on the half open file, protecting your pawn, protecting your other pawn. This is textbook stuff, Flo. I'm really liking your play. And notice how he's putting the pawns on white squares and then using the bishop to kind of control the dark squares the pawns are not looking out for. CJ, I'm doing the commentary solo. VG canceled their studio. They didn't find enough sponsors. So we're doing solo commentary similar to the one we did during Christmas for the World Blitz and Rapid. Oh wow, I added a command to MooBot. Tactics Frenzy. Check it out, people. Okay, so far so good. I actually played through this game already. Knight a4, putting pressure on that pawn. I think your play so far has been perfect. And then knight c3, acknowledging that you kind of provoked black into pushing this pawn forward. And now there's a new square available on d5, which that pawn is not protecting. So the knight comes back to c3, trying to get to the d5 square. Perfect play. And now knight f6, bishop f4 is fine. Queen b6. And this is kind of the one moment where, you know, if you hadn't played this move, I think you would win for sure with this game flow. But here, with the queen pointing towards the white king, I feel like just king h1. Very kind of better safe than sorry attitude. But instead you played queen d3. And I gotta say c4 would have been a good move here. Because it's opening up for a check. Sieka, how you doing? Yeah, perpetual is everywhere. Nicola, thank you so much for the 100, 1,000, sorry, 1,000 bits. Thank you so much. Hey Adro, how are you doing? So this was a pretty big tactic to miss out on, full, and he had the opportunity several times until you played this bishop f2 move. But other than that, I think this was a great game. g3, making sure that the knight is no longer protecting the d5 square. So the knight moves away, then the knight can come to d5. King g2, excellent move. Because it's preparing h4 and getting the rook over to the h-file, opening up new attacking prospects. And after king h7 takes on g5. I gotta admit, I think this h5 was a mouse slip. I feel like he intended to go h takes g5. After which white still has a very, very nice position, but you know, the fight is still going on. Nicola gifting a sub to Sieka. I'm trying to remember how Botes pronounces it, but at the same time, she might be wrong as well. Sieka. Monica. Okay, I'll do that. Nicola gifting a sub to Monica. Thank you so much, Nicola. I'm streaming on Chess24 now. But I'm playing both places. I'm playing wherever I feel like. Is something wrong, Ulan? I saw your comment and it feels like something is wrong, but I cannot figure out what it is. Okay, no, I think this was just a perfect game from Flow, other than that one kind of little beauty mistake that happens. But other than that, such a nice game. Because this really was the previous game was all about developing your pieces and getting everything into the attack. But this one was a bit more, strategic, provoking weaknesses in the opponent's camp and maneuvering pieces and stuff like that. I'm a sucker for strategy. Oh, really, Ulan? Missed knight f3? I don't know. I don't care. Nah, it's a good game. Why did I change platform? I've elaborated Eskil on my Twitter. It's being linked to in chat by Jake. One of the reasons is that I'm doing work with developing stuff with Play Magnus, who is a direct competitor to chess.com. And if you want to check out some of the stuff I'm working on, there's a link in chat as well. Is banter beef coming? Asks Buy-In. Could be interesting, no? I think a lot of people would like to see who's the better blitz player of me and Jan. I haven't checked the brackets of the Banter Blitz Cup, but optimally, we end up playing each other there, right? Oh, the flag? It's Indonesia, right? Poland is the other one way around. Indonesia. Open mic match? Yeah, maybe Jake. MSU, Lichess is not commercial, which means that for me, who is trying to make a living from chess, working together with a non-commercial site doesn't really make sense because I'm trying to generate revenue and they don't have the philosophy nor ability to, let's say, comply with my demands. That's such a nasty word. I should use other words. They don't have the financial muscles to attract me. Also, it makes me sound bad, but it's the reality. Yeah, Flo, but I'm not doing it wrong per se, right? I'm just mixing the board upside down in my head. But yeah, I do it all the time. And most of the time, I don't even notice it myself. Jan is a ruthless flagger. It does sound, Pizza Racer, that Jan's flagging skills would match up poorly with my let's think for 30 seconds in the opening method. At least 10 occasions. Wow. It happens, fool. Occupational hazard. Okay, we're gonna look at a game that's not fools. I know it's sensational, but that's what's going on. So honestly, we only have like 5 submissions so far. It means that if you come into chat right now and post a game you have played on Chess24 with your Hammer repertoire, your chances of winning are pretty much 2 digits percentage wise. So do come with your best Hammer repertoire games. They're being considered. They're even being analyzed on stream, unless like Z Nation, you don't want to expose yourself to the roasting you get when you give away the bishop pair. But next up it's Big Boy. And Big Boy was in chat earlier. I hope he's still here. You respect the bishop pair? Well, then you have nothing to be afraid of, Z Nation. Monica, I think both of them were trying to gift you a sub. And Nicola beat Ulan to it. That's how I understood the conversation. Yeah, no, I understand why they're doing it, why they cannot do it, Jake. I'm just saying to MSU, that's the reason why. Okay, Big Boy is still around. And we're going to take a look at a game he played against Smook. And he managed to defeat a player who was 600 points higher rated than him. Wow. And that gained him 48 rating points. It's not available in the app just yet, Sangeet. But it's coming. It's coming soon. We're still working on it. Right now, the programmers are making a timed version, which is going to be similar to Puzzle Rush, but we're going to have some slight, what we think is improvements. Okay, let's see. E4 was played. C5, another Sicilian. Another Rosalimo. And Big Boy comes up with Bishop B5. And after Knight A5, this is not covered in the repertoire. Big Boy, I'm sorry. The guy took you out of book on move 3. I have Eddie's game, Working Class Hero, but because he played it in real life, I don't know how we're going to do the layout for it. Okay, so he castles, good choice. Developing your pieces, I approve. And then after a6, bishop e2, protecting that bishop, making sure it doesn't get trapped. D6 and then C3. Excellent move. Taking control in the center. D4. The perfect center, having both E4 and D4 in there. And C4, that is not a good move. Smuk kind of closes down the center without doing anything to stop white's influence. Bishop F4, I like it. Developing your pieces. Making sure that you get the bishop out before you want to play your knight into the game. G5, ooh. This Smuk guy is very aggressive. Decelerated O'Kelly is something like that, pool crew. Is this knight a5 a thing? Busy Knights, I've seen it before. I have played against it myself. But it's a very uncommon line. And frankly, it's not something you should be very scared of. I think the way Big Boy has played has its perfection. Just ignore the weird moves from the opponent. Just get castled, get your pawns in the center. Chess doesn't need to be more complicated than that. Unwarranted aggression? I don't know, Z Nation. I mean, this could be dangerous, I feel. I think G5 is a very good move. Because frankly, Black's position isn't all that great to begin with. So you might as well grab some space and make some threats. And Nico, I'm not sure whether I will play some games or not. It depends on whether people submit games once we're done with the submissions we already have. So, full disclosure, I was hoping that this analysis session really provoked people into making more game submissions. And we haven't got any new ones just yet, but we still have some from our vault of suggested games. Ooh, Jake is sending in a game. Thank you, Jake. I'll put it in the Discord channel. I'm glad you did, Busy Nights. I hope you enjoyed the repertoire. And I hope you used code HAMMER for your discount. If you guys are buying some Chess24 membership or similar, remember to use that code HAMMER. 15% off. My attempt at being a Fortnite streamer. Use my code. Okay, so G5 was played. Bishop moves. Bishop G7. H4. I'm not sure I like this move because kind of you're attacking on the side of the board where your king is, and that's normally pretty risky. Let's see what happens. G4. Knight H2, H5. And now your pieces are looking kind of silly. The knight on H2, not a great piece. But you play F3 to try and open up immediately for the knight. That's a good strategy. Knight H6. So Black is willing to sacrifice that pawn on G4 in order to get open files against the white king. So it's a very, very complicated game. B5, A4, good move. Putting pressure on both sides of the board. And really asking the king a question. Where is the black king going to go when there's problems on both sides? This 1E4 course is messing with your 1D4 repertoire. You know, Pizza Racer, just throw it away. You don't need that anymore. It's all 1E4 for you now. 5 years from now, you're not even going to remember you ever played d4. You're going to think to yourself, when I was young and dumb, I didn't know better. When it's a problem on both sides, just stay in the middle, says Duckisolates. Yes, that is one way of doing it, but I suspect that sometimes you end up in trouble in the long run. I really don't like this bishop takes b5 move. I feel like taking with a pawn was much better because it also keeps the pawns connected and protecting each other. So bishop takes ruins your pawn structure, but it also gives away protection on the g4 square. And now in this position, Big Boy has won a pawn, but also white has a better pawn structure, and this king can come under attack pretty quickly because bishop h5 is a very natural way of continuing and pointing towards the king and saying that you can stay in the center, but regardless where you put your king, if you stay, if you go to the queen side, if you go to the king side, regardless, I'm going to hunt you down. That's what I like to hear, Ascent Nation. One e4 from now on. Make sure you're in the Discord to submit your best games. Zaba, I saw that you gave me a Twitch sub, a Prime sub, while I was offline. Thank you so much. Great repertoire. I really appreciate that, Zaba. Okay, castles. Ooh, rook f5. We have a lot of guys using the repertoire and using their rooks in untraditional fashion to put pressure on the opponents. e6, rook moves, bishop puts itself on the diagonal so that it can capture the rook. If you don't pay attention, f5 might arrive on the board, threatening both the bishop and the rook. But bishop e8 was a big mistake because Big Boy, he could see the entire board. And his rook, while it was working on a plan to go against Black's king, it could also switch over to the other side, capture that knight, and just make Black's life miserable. Okay, let's see the end. We're a piece and a pawn up, so I suspect Big Boy took home the victory with no issue going forward. Yeah, get those, exchange off the defenders close to Black's king. Ooh, and also rook f5, bringing in the last piece of the puzzle. Rook h5 coming up soon. And Big Boy gets a big win. I'm not sure I would say betrayed Ori, but yeah, I've made a switch. What was wrong with queen takes a5 after f5? It wasn't there. It wasn't there. The rook is protected, Jake. I think Big Boy had it under control. Oh, you get a lot of games in this variation, Pizza Racer? No, wait, it was not in this variation. It was in the variation we studied earlier in one of Fool's games. I find it very interesting that a lot of the games I have on Chess24, I very often get the same opening variations. I wonder if that's because like some video series on Chess24 recommended that move, and that everyone here is just in sync, studying all the video series. Hammer is a total baby for not recommending open Sicilian main lines. Yeah, that's one way of putting it, Z Nation. But on the other hand, I have made such an effort doing the entire Spanish main line. I, one, was kind of tired after that. And number two, I couldn't find Sicilian main lines where I felt it was completely risk-free for white. Because a lot of these openings, I'm recommending stuff where I just feel like white, by just developing, doesn't have any risk involved and can stay clear of any sort of tricky opening. And I couldn't find such a line in the Sicilian, unfortunately. Hey Omid, how you doing? Less risk, less reward. I don't know. I don't agree with that, XD. I really don't agree with that. Because as we have seen in the game so far, just developing your pieces, it's such an effective strategy. We've seen Flo on multiple occasions get just massive good central control without the opponent really having any counter threats. So you can say less risk is less reward, but I think you're wrong. Maybe at the very, very highest levels, but not at, a 2400 level, not at a 1600 level. Not here. I think less risk is exclusively rewarded at this level, at which the repertoire is aimed, right? I'm trying to reach the 1600s, and I think playing opening lines with low risk is only gonna benefit the viewer, because that's kind of how you lose games. Whenever you get caught in your opponent's special tricky variation, or like favorite pet line, or if you haven't been told that, developing and the center and getting your king to safety, that's what it's all about. 3G5 is not covered in the repertoire, but you're welcome to ask Magnus to teach you how to do it. Slumka G6 here is covered. It was the main line in the Karana Carlsen games from the World Championship. Yeah, that's an interesting line, Saba, but it's still pretty positionally messy, I would think. But yeah, it's a good shot, good call out for safe Najdorf lines. You loved the Berlin recommendation. I'm glad, Saba. Just get the pieces out there. That's what we're trying to do. Chess coach, king safety. That's very important. Get that king castled ASAP. I expect to be a grandmaster soon just by watching your stream. That's how it works, asks Pizza Racer. I mean, we have a command for improvement, though. Watching the stream is honestly not on that list. Maybe it should be, Pizza. Which video? I'm not sure what you're referring to, Slumka. Here you sack the bishop to give opponents doubled pawns. Yes, working class hero. We're recommending bishop takes c6. With a heavy heart, though. With a heavy heart. Okay, we have a game from AJ. And we have a game from Jake, and we have a game from Hyataman. And the Hyataman is doing a very bad job of selling in his game, so we'll do Jake's first. Yeah, Bateman. Open Sicilian, there's so many alternatives. It's easy to get out prepared. Eddie, we'll get to your game, but because it's in a different format on Chess24 than these other games from the server, it messes up with my layout, so I'm going to have to think a bit about how to display it. Hammer recommends throwing away the bishop pair. Let's get this off the screen. Censored for your own good. Oh, that was a very short game. Jake. Wow, Jake. You were not kidding around, were you? Oh, I played a pretty short game using the Hammer repertoire. Okay, so it's an Olyekin with Jake having the white pieces. E5, knight d5, d4, taking control in the center. Knight f3, just getting the pieces out. Bishop g4, bishop c4. Okay, Jake, I do believe, I may be mistaken here, but I think h3 is our repertoire recommendation, no? Or bishop e2. Anyway, bishop c4 was played. c6. Knight c3. Interesting. Challenging the knight, but giving himself broken pawns on the queen side. But a big mistake here from Wetterhorn. D takes e5. Was met by knight takes e5, a beautiful little tactic, opening up for the bishop to take on f7, as well as the queen to take the bishop. And frankly, there's just no good reply here for black. It's just game over. And Wetterhorn put himself out of his misery immediately by playing bishop takes d1. Walking into the 9-move checkmate. Well done, Jake. Is this the Legal's mate? No, it's not, Busy Knights. So Legal's mate is when you take on f7, the king moves up, and then you get the knight to d5 for the final checkmate. So this is not it, but it's kind of similar. Yeah, Big Chess Theory, you can submit an over-the-board game if you put it in the Chess24 analysis tool and send me the link or post the link in chat. Yes, Ori, I do know whether there are plans to updating the playing experience. I know, but I'm not really at liberty to say. Bishop e6, yeah, so he could have played bishop e6, but honestly, that's just prolonging his misery. Because in this variation, Black has a pretty bad pawn structure. He's down in exchange. His king is in some trouble. Let's just say I don't blame him for capturing Jake's queen. Okay, that was short and sweet from Jake. Next up, we have a game with AJ. Yeah, that's true, Saba. The Rosalimo can be messy at times. But stable structure with a space advantage is pretty much also the definition of the Rosalimo. So I feel like you're right that the Rosalimo can get a bit complex, but that is true for every opening. And it fits really well with your kind of the things you're writing that you're looking for in an opening. Hey Bishop, how are you doing? Okay, let's load the next game. Okay, so here we have AJ 2800 rated. Really going out there, showing that this repertoire can be used by everyone. We saw Big Boy getting a big win, beating a player 500 points higher rated than himself. But also AJ, a 2800 rated player, finds the repertoire useful. Yeah, Bateman, sometimes going for the immediate kill strikes back at you. And that's also why it's such a kind of popular opening. Espen with the 21-month resub. Thank you so much, Espen. I'm actually going to test. So I have a 23-month resub, but it's up there. It's definitely one of our longest resubbing streaks. I'm not sure I've seen anyone else though with a 23-month. There's probably like 2 or 3 people. Close. Hey Quinn. Only have this asks, do you prefer the E6 or the G6 variation for black? I definitely prefer the G6 variation. I think it's, I don't know, I feel like it's more solid. I feel like with E6, white has even more options. The thing about E6 is that it blocks your white squared bishop even more. And so in the E6 variation of the Rosalimo, you can put it on the board. In the E6 variation, one of your biggest problems in this entire opening becomes an even bigger problem when you put the pawn on E6 and it kind of blocks this bishop's future even more. So I feel like g6 should be better. But Magnus got into some trouble in the World Championship match against Caruana. So also g6, there's the bishop b5 lines against knight c6. It's a very serious line. It's a legitimate try fighting for an objective opening advantage. Hey, Kramnik student, how you doing? Hey, Area, how are you? We're reviewing games for the competition. Area, do you have any for us? Kramnik student, also, have you been playing the Hammer Repertoire in your Chess 24 Blitz games? Post it in chat. Okay, thank you, Chess Theory. Your game has been put into the our Discord channel. Probably I'll do all of the real life games at the same time because I haven't checked out my my layout. So I may postpone that to a different day. Henry, I don't think I'm responsible for your coffee getting cold. Yes, Saba. Against d6, I'm not recommending bishop takes c6. I'm recommending castles, which you find annoying. So that seems like we agree on the assessments right there. Is it easier for amateurs to take with a b pawn? Yeah, I would say so. I would say so, random name. There's some internal logic to taking towards the center. But we have some good recommendations there as well in the repertoire. Do you prefer the French or the Spanish? With the black pieces, I definitely played more of the Spanish than the French guillotine. My thoughts on the London is that I want to ban the opening. London is pretty solid. I think that's fair. I'm considering getting some warm tea right now, CJ. That should fix the problem. Everyone takes a break to warm their drinks. Okay, we'll do this game and we'll take a break to fix our hot beverages. Saba, the two knights against the French is horrible. I played it, so I know. I played it as a kid. It's a really, really bad opening. Okay, let's take a look at AJ's game. Bishop b5 check, knight d7, and a4. This is my recommendation, a4. It has been played by Anish Giri. And this is one of the recommendations I'm the most happy with. And it's also one of the recommendations I spent the most time on before figuring out what to do. This is also something I played this weekend in the Swedish League, where I would say I became too aggressive and ended up losing the game. But it was not because of the opening. According to the computer, I had a big opening advantage with this line. MSU, I'm not a big fan of the c3 move. But if you like it, you should check out the games of David Howell. Mechaniac, if you're drinking beer, I would encourage you to put it in the fridge or something. If you're into tea and coffee, let's warm it up. If you're into beer or other such stuff, you're free to cool it down. Henry, you don't need to be serious in a Twitch chat, but I do appreciate you being a fan of my chess. Okay, let's see what happened. So e5, taking some central control, but also kind of encouraging c3, d4 in the future. a5 is an interesting move, really gaining space on this side of the board. And after a6, bishop a4. Okay, I'm a bit concerned about the safety of this pawn on a5, but we'll see what happens. Bishop e7, knight c3. For the moment, you cannot capture this pawn because then bishop gives a check on the king while opening up for the rook to take the queen. So let's not do that. Instead, knight f3 was played, and after d3 castles, bishop d2. And this is important because if white had castled here, now taking this pawn would be no problem, as bishop takes d7. It is no longer check, and the rook is undefended in the corner. So bishop d2, and now if you take the pawn, then the queen is attacked by the rook, and the rook is protected by the queen. So we cannot do that. And basically this is the important moment. Black cracks. Black is trying to figure out how to get this light squared bishop into the game. I feel like knight b8 actually would have been an interesting move, because now you're threatening queen takes a5, and you're also opening up for this bishop to get into the center, to the e6 square, for example. So knight b8 I feel like would have been a better move. Instead, b5 was played, and now black has that pawn on a6, which has become an isolated pawn. Will you do opening hammers like opening clinics from Jan? I don't know, Saba, if that will be a recurring thing for next year, but for the rest of 2019, I will be going through games using the hammer repertoire. Wow, I got upgraded. My badge on Chess 24 has been upgraded to an anti-cheat moderator. And I legitimately have a shield next to my game. Basically, my lifelong dream of becoming a law enforcement officer has come true. Mostly I tried to exchange the opponent's bishop with knights. Henry, you're going to appreciate this stream then. That sounds pretty good to me. You'll be hammered on 1e4 by the end of the year. I'm hoping, Saba. And I hope you have some good games to submit in the future. No, Super Saiyan, we're doing some game analysis today. Fortnite has already frustrated me enough this week. The ban hammer is available, Bob. Wow, CJ. It's not as good a line as Perpetual provided earlier today, but it's okay. Oh man, Perpetual. Don't don't out me like that. Is it true a knight is worth 3.5 and a bishop 3? Wow, working class hero, you're a very brave man to think that's not gonna get timed out. I think we're not gonna time you out, but any such any such comment deserves a delete. We can't have people think we approve of such messaging. He was trolling Madara. Forget you ever saw that comment. The bishop is worth more than the knight. Chess players bad at Fortnite confirmed. MSU, I mean, I am bad at Fortnite. But Chess Bay and Botez, they have been killing it the last couple of days. I tried to catch up. I tried doing some solos. And I just got even more tilted. But on the other hand, I feel like I had a talk with myself about my my Fortnite performances. And I think that really heart to heart with myself is going to enable me to go into the next fight with some confidence about my editing. I think if I just start trying to edit more often, I'm gonna win so many more fights. Because right now I'm not confident. I'm too scared to try and edit when I know I should. Just avoid fall damage and you'll be fine. Yeah, that's also a thing, Zoe. Something to work on. I actually thought about that too. I've had quite the day. I spent most of my day thinking about how I should improve my Fortnite gameplay. But yeah, I've been thinking that I shouldn't try to stay for ultimate high ground. I should be doing like the pros do. That if the opponent drops down, you drop down with them. There's no point to having high ground if you're 6 boxes away from them. You want to have like a 3-box height advantage. Because otherwise you're too far away for shotgun, for good angles, for everything. You're waiting to warm up your coffee? You and me both, Omid. You and me both. I could use some tea right now. Let's get through this game. When am I going to play the next Banter Blitz match? Casa, it's going to be in late November or December. So there's 128 participants, which means that 64 matches has to be organized before we move on to the next round. Area, don't worry about winning beautifully. Just worry about getting some good games with E4. I am a crazy person. I could easily reward a person for just developing their pieces nicely, even if the game ends in a draw, or even if you win and you don't think it's beautiful enough. Maybe I'm gonna appreciate something in your strategies that you didn't think would qualify for one of those best game prizes. This game analysis is taking a while. Yeah, Omid, I got distracted. Chat talking about Fortnite, a topic at which my knowledge is just, unlimited. Okay, I'm really liking the strategies here from AJ. Good pawn structure, putting the pawns on white squares, having the other bishop on the dark squares. Good strats so far. H3, that's fine. Okay, now kind of though, it begs the question, what is the plan going forward? And it's actually not so easy for white to find a good plan. I feel like a lot of the strong players these days have shown that g3 and king g2 is one of the main plans. And then follow it up with like h3 and knight h2. Just evacuating the f file so that any black rook doubling on the f file doesn't become very dangerous. AJ, but you know, I had a lot of orange juice for breakfast. OJ getting away with things is not new. Okay, so this is an interesting moment here. Because I really feel like black should play rook takes f3. And after takes back, yes, you've sacrificed a rook for a knight, but white's king is very much out in the open. You can get your queen involved and your rook pretty easily. And you can somehow try to maneuver this knight to the f4 square in the future. So I feel like this was a missed opportunity for black. That's over the line, perpetual. Okay, so the rook retreated, knight g3. And white managed to kind of solidify the position on the king side. Yeah, of course you were, perpetual. Okay, queen d2, once again allowing this rook takes f3. And I feel like white repeatedly missed some moments to do this kind of thing, where it really kind of puts the pressure back on white. And it's not clear at all how white is supposed to deal with these threats towards the king. Okay, but instead bishop g5 was played, and now AJ manages to take that one, and look at this pawn structure. Isolated pawn, isolated pawn, isolated pawn, doubled pawns. It's just a terrible pawn structure for black, and AJ does very well to start the pressure over on the other side of the board. Just solidifying the situation on the king side, and then using the pieces, going over to the queen side, and just start capturing stuff. And first up is the pawn on a6. Next up is the pawn on d6. And while black is trying to organize a counterattack, white comes in and provides the checkmate on h8. That being said, however, what happens here if rook takes h3? This looks incredibly scary to me. Area, I did win my Banter Blitz Cup match. I did. I managed to win 9-2. Winning 7 games in a row. It was 2-2, and then I won 7 games in a row. King runs to e2. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, maybe. Okay, take, check. So the king gets away, but black manages to win the queen. However, in this situation, I would probably agree that winning the queen in itself is not good enough to win the game. However, in a situation like this, I feel like black is very close to making a draw. Right? Queen c1 coming up next. I feel like this was a decent counterplay for black. Maybe queen takes h3 first. Yeah, that was my initial thought, Jack. Queen takes h3 first, but then queen g2 protects against rook g6. And now these white rooks are going to come do their thing, which is really annoying. Okay, with that, we're taking a break. We'll review what happened. So rook g6 was too slow. The rook came into the attack. Another rook into the attack. The only way to stop rook h8 from being checkmate is to move the rook currently on g6. However, when you move that rook, you still get checked, and you got to move your king, and then you lose your queen. So there was nothing to fight for, and AJ brings home the bacon. It's like the worst thing you can say about an Indian player winning a game. And AJ won the game in good style using the hammer repertoire. Just forget everything else I said. And with that, we're taking a little break so that I can get some tea. Oh, man. perfect timing. Back. So I don't have my cup. I have Thai food or something like that. I bought it in England, in London, and it's supposed to be decaffeinated black tea. Decaffeinated black tea. We're using the Hammer mug today. Hammer mug in use. Yeah, something like that, CJ. Almost like the typhoon. How you spell that? And I bought it at a pound shop, so it was pretty cheap. Do I sell those? I don't know. I don't even know where it's bought. Busy nights. But my mom thought it was really funny. Decaffeinated tea, Mr. Sabon. What do you do when other people tease you with their names? Honestly, Ostan, if I had known what I know now about my name, I could have struck back on those mean kids so easily. Because Hammer, you don't mess around with Hammer. So I should have gotten people to call me by my last name in elementary school. Oh, we got a raid while I was away? No. Hammer is the highest rated registered player in Denmark. Wow. They're importing Norwegians. Yeah, Snakey. For you, the mug is back. Magnus calls you Hammer. He never calls me Jon Kasa. This is actually interesting. I don't really respond to Jon at all. Because when I was a kid, when I was in kindergarten, up until I was like 5 years old, I didn't know my Christian name. I only knew myself as Ludwig. And at some point, I was told that my full name was actually Jon Ludwig. And being a 5-year-old kid, I now unanimously decided, magnanimously maybe, that I shall from now on be known as Jon Ludwig. And as such, my mother will sometimes call me Jon Ludwig, and she will sometimes call me Ludwig. But I've never had anyone in my life call me Jon. So whenever someone calls me Jon, I get, grumpy. Because that's not my name. It may be the first of my names, but it cannot be used alone to refer to me. Wow, forked about it, immediately provoking and succeeding. Sometimes, guys, if you're gonna make a habit out of provoking the streamer, you're gonna get burned. You're gonna get burned at times. Also, together with our decaffeinated tea, we have some hearts. This is, in Norwegian, pepperkake. This is like 100% fat and sugar. They arrive in stores way sooner than they should. It's kind of like Christmas goods. And they are ridiculously cheap. And they stay with you for a long time. On the hips, people. On the hips. Raviors, I'm doing commentary on VG. CJ, they're selling peppercockers. Peppercocker. Now, you can't have a rule that I cannot eat peppercocker until the end of November. The rule should be that the stores cannot sell peppercocker until the end of November. And so long as they're in the store, I'm gonna have them. Heart-shaped cookies. It's not cookies though, but yeah, pretty much, Casa. So you can make the rules for me, but I can't make the rules for you? No, I'm just saying your rules are wrong, CJ. I'm just saying that the rules should apply to the corporate people, not to me, a poor guy who gets bombarded in his grocery store with these temptations. You know the quote, right, CJ? I can resist anything but temptations. It's so true. It's so true. Pepperkake is a bit iffy, says Busy Nights, but Yule Bruce, that is a no-go until December. Yeah, that's fine, Busy Nights. I don't really do Yule Bruce. I don't really do soda at all. So I'm fine with that. The anti-capitalist? I think that is the first one anyone has ever said that. Working Class Hero. Also, I guess it's time to release the Forked About It again. How many more games for analysis area? We're running out. We don't I'm not even sure we have a single more game. We have a Kiyata man who said that he made a couple of silly mistakes. And then we have 2 over-the-board games. I think we're going to postpone until our next game analysis stream. Wow, you submitted another one? You're on fire, Flo. Do Eddie Working Class Hero? I don't have the layout ready. I had a bad day. I didn't prepare properly for stream. I was thinking about all my Fortnite problems. Hey Conrad, how are you doing? Actually, Conrad's username is making me remember that I have an announcement I need to make. I will be attending the Spill Expo at Lillestrøm on Sunday, November 3rd. Spill Expo. It's like, honestly, I think it's similar to TwitchCon. But it's like Norway's national TwitchCon. And I will be attending. I will be doing some chess. I'm thinking about hanging out for a bit, kind of just exploring how it works. In your chess career, have you dealt with issues of comparison? I'm not sure what you're referring to, Austin. Comparison? I feel like that should say corruption or something. Botez is not a spelling pro, Ulan. Let me tell you. I used a word in the English language she didn't know. She had to look it up. If you have to look up words a non-native speaker uses, then yeah, I don't think you can be a spelling champion. Oh, spilling. Okay, yeah, okay, I get it now. Don't make jokes that are too advanced for the streamer to understand. Oh, man. Yeah, spilling champions. Yes, that you are. He almost spilled his tea from that joke. Well, not the joke itself, but that I couldn't read properly. Svidler uses a lot of words English-speaking people don't know. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Because we actually had this discussion earlier, and I made the contention that Svidler's pronunciation was better than mine, but that I probably had a bigger vocabulary. But based on what you're saying, probably I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just worse at English every facet of the language. Any English speakers in chat who needs me to explain facet? No, Conrad, I'm from Norway. I cannot speak Danish. Blödkage. That's about the best I can do. Okay, we're moving on to the next game. It's Hyataman. Hyataman with the dub. 2 queens against none. It's usually a good way to win. Oh, actually, Hyataman has submitted a game he lost with 2 queens against a king. Having checkmate available in 1 move. Feels bad, man. Losing on time 1 move before checkmate. That's rough. Your mom is from Norway, Conrad? Maybe you're very good at chess then. You got them Norwegian genes. We made Hammer cry? Yeah, something did, at the very least. Horace, I'm not a big fan of my system. I also heard that there's other people who think my system is overrated. So I feel comfortable saying no to your question. Oh, ban incoming? I didn't even see. Chess24 added subtitles for your video series and they didn't for Jan or Svidler. I think that proves whose English is better. I think you have you're pointing at a cause or something that has happened, but I think your conclusion on why that has happened is lacking, Perpetual. So I would say that my course has been subtitled because it's so good that they need everyone to be able to understand. I'm losing my own argument right now. Let me think about this for a little bit. It's subtitled because it's so good that they want it to be available for French and Spanish speaking people as well. And the way their subtitle system works is that they take an English text and then translate it to the other language. So yes, I currently have English subtitles, but it's really just that's not why. The reason I have English subtitles is because someone is busy translating it into Spanish, translating it into French, so that more people can enjoy the #1 video series on Chess24. And this has not happened to Jan and Svidler because they haven't really been able to present something that is valuable for people of other languages to get a part of it as well. Oh, there are no subtitles? Oh, man. Baited. But honestly, there has been talk of subtitles in the Chess24 content channel. So I bought it. Maybe it's gonna happen in the future. Hammer subtitled into French and Spanish. There's room for it. Muchas gracias. Next time I can just do it in Spanish. I just need to learn what bishops are in Spanish and then we're ready. El Rey. In order to get El Rey, use El Alfil pour la vin. Okay, yeah. I probably need someone to do the subtitles. I'm not sure it was 5 minutes perpetual, but it was probably longer than what was warranted. Can you please dub yourself in Deutsch? Yes. Honestly, I could do that. Fressinet dubbing me into French? It makes no sense. I should do my own French dubbing. That would be so good. If I have a text, I could probably read it. Give me a French text and I will read it, and then we'll get a preview of how Hammer dubbing himself in a language he doesn't speak. Check how that works out. Games analyzed, by the way, MSU, I mean chess, is really not the key ingredient to my stream. We go where chat takes us, with occasional moments of chess. El Adrez. Ajdrez. It's enough, Roach, I feel. Le jeu d'échecs possède deux joueurs de part et d'autre d'une tabellière appelée équigère composée de 64 cases claires et sombres. That was an unusually difficult French sentence, I feel. Man. I'm very good at the bonjour, comment ça va? Où est la bibliothèque? How did you get so good at chess? I practiced a lot, Horace. I was hoping someone would post a fake French text. I think this one was real though, Sumka. It was still pretty bad. 2 out of 10, says Sane. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with a 2 out of 10. I really feel like that one deserved the lowest possible score. I'll take a 2. Je voudrais une guide, s'il vous plaît. See, thank you. That's what I can do on the bonheur. Je suis très fatigué. Merci beaucoup. Ah, Pizza Racer. Tu es très fatigué? Je désolé. Bonne nuit. See, I can do French. It's just, that was a very difficult sentence. Yeah, I think that's the level we're both at, Flo. If we can understand each other, that's probably the level of sentences. Se Abdul says that was not too bad. Thank you. Fresinet actually needs subtitles? Wow, Bateman. Okay, let's take a look at the chess. It's Ryataman with the white pieces going up against the second Scandinavian we have seen today. And much like Flo, doing it very, very well, getting the bishops just out. Nothing complicated. Getting the bishops out, getting the king to safety. Ooh, he's a bit more aggressive than Flo, though. A queen side castling, but then following it up with rook e1. I like it. A lot of the time, people, whenever they see the opponent castling, they just start rushing the pawns with no real purpose. So rook e1, I like this. Just even though your opponent has castled to the different other side of the board, centralizing your pieces is never a mistake. Yes, support, I support. Did I support this move though? What happens if you take the queen and you take this one? I do not support this. Ryataman, where are your calculations at? At the end of this line, you're down a knight and you got a broken pawn structure. This is not okay. This is definitely not okay. So here, bishop takes. That would be a good move. Because your bishop on g5 is protected by both the knight and the queen. Yeah. Hey Jesper. Blodkage. We've already been discussing some Danish before you got here. Now that you're here, we're not going to talk any Danish at all. The meeting, the conspiracy, how to take down the Danes, meeting has officially ended now that you're here. It's too many difficult words, Perpetual. I'm not even going to be baited by that. Horrors, I'm glad to hear you say that. Okay, so yeah, that was a miscalculation. Bishop takes e7. Big mistake. But you got away with it because he took on e7. Then bishop takes e4. Look at how having the rooks in the center now is very valuable. Genuinely valuable. And knight f6, getting a free pawn. It was difficult to defend that pawn anyway. And if black had done something like bishop b7, still, you know, there's moves like knight e4. And you got a pretty nice position. Maybe knight e5 is not the best even. You can do something like queen f4 and try to go queen c7. Just be really annoying. Okay, Ryataman in chat admits to having blundered that tactic. Okay, but now here you are, having won a pawn, having control on the open file. I maybe would have protected this guy. You know, sometimes your opponent takes your pawns and you regret having given them away. So I would protect that guy. But yeah, getting the rooks doubled. Ooh, getting a passed pawn 2 squares away from becoming a new queen. Very good. I like, in these situations, I want to go h4 and then h5 and h6. Almost always a very good plan in these situations with heavy pieces on the board. You want to get more attackers, and your rook is just not going to cut it. So you just push your pawn as far as it goes. And if your opponent plays h5, then you go g4. And you just use brute force to open this up. Because his queen and rook, they're completely out of play. They're not participating in the defense at all. And after takes here, you can, give a check. You can take this one, threaten queen h8, checkmate. And at the right moment, you get the rook over to the other side. And it's just game over. This being an example of that. So yeah, h4 is really the go-to plan in these situations, trying to create another threat close to the opponent's king. Okay, let's see what happened instead. Queen c5, queen c7. Okay, going for the exchange. Fair enough. I think the attack was stronger, but ooh, look at this. Look at those pawns. I take it back. Nothing can be stronger than two pawns working together on the sixth rank, protected by a rook. This is very good stuff. Just get those queens off the board and push your passed pawns. And there's nothing the rook can do to stop them. Yeah, good job. Got himself two queens. This was checkmate in one move. Feels bad. Yeah, this was checkmate in two moves. But you got into a checkmating position, but unfortunately losing on time. One move away from checkmate. Good game, Ryata, man. I think other than your blunder and the fact that you lost on time, that was well executed. And I really liked how you kept the focus on development throughout the game. Mr. Saban, I don't really have a lot of opinions on Jonathan's book. I read it, but honestly, I don't even remember what it said. I don't remember whether he's pro Kutov or not. What do you think about Jonas Bjerke? Asks Jesper. He's a huge talent. He made his Grandmaster title now. He's just 15 years old. However, I will also mention that he got crushed. He got crushed this summer by Hammer himself. So, there's still some room for improvement. I had a very nice positional win against him. Oh, really, Hyataman? Man, I'm like a computer. I'm actually not using the computer for reference. Sometimes I do, but not today. Every game I make one or two big mistakes. MSU, I think big mistakes are closely related to your tactics. So I would suggest doing a lot of chess puzzles to correct this, because your big mistakes you can eliminate by just practicing your kind of elementary tactical themes and stuff like that. Hammer beating up on children. It's the only people I can beat at the moment. Working class hero. I'll take any win I can get. Hammer knows how to deal with prodigies. Beat them while they're still young. That's Honestly, a very good strategy, though, Perpetual. It works out. What is the best way to learn a new opening? Dyer, the best way is to use the Chess24 video series to get an introduction of the main lines and stuff like that. And then you should play games on Chess24 to practice it. When you upgrade to Chess24 Premium, remember to use code HAMMER for a 15% discount. And may I recommend the Hammer video series as your next white opening. He was basically asking for it. What are you on about? Nachik, he was asking for it. Of course I was going to give him the blurb. Just a perfect setup. Yeah, Perpetual, I'm trying to remember whether I had the bishop pair in that game. And honestly, I'm struggling. I don't even remember the opening. I remember there being a pawn structure I was happy with. This is my problem. A game I played 3 months ago and I still cannot remember it. Someone needs to release an e4, e5 repertoire for black. Honestly, Nachik, that is probably going to be my next project. Are 2700 super smart? What makes them different? They just spent more time working on their chess, Horace. They're not smarter. They're just, harder workers. Which, doesn't put the rest of us in that good a light. Could have worked harder. You have inside info on e4, e5 for black coming from someone else. Wow, Perpetual. I hope that person has read up on the Hammer recommendations. Also, I think actually Jan is working on e4, e5. Inside sources, you say. Thanks, Eddie. Is this another one than the one you already submitted? I'll add this one as well. No, it's the same one, Eddie. I already have this one. I'm not 2700, Oma. I was for like a month. And then I started losing a lot of games. And ever since, I've been bad. Oh, Eddie, that link was the same game you gave last time. No, the link is the same, Eddie. I can tell. If you just played a game on Chess24, you can go into your game archive and then press go to game, and the link will be very different. The link will not have /analysis. It will be something like /game. So when you have /analysis, it gives the analysis board, which I have some trouble with my layout. But if you get your game URL from Chess24, it has /game before the freaky code. Are there any opening books that are Grandmaster level? Honestly, Carl, there's a lot of opening books at Grandmaster level. I feel a lot of the opening books that are written are really high quality. So that's because everyone has an engine these days, right? So everyone can come up with ideas of really high quality, combining engine analysis with previously played games. Everyone knows that Hammer's worth at least 2,700. Yeah, of course, Area. I haven't been proving it lately. Isn't opening repertoire more critical with black? Mr. Saban, the thing is that with the white pieces, you're looking for an opening advantage, which is tricky. With the black pieces, you're mostly happy just to get an equal game, and a lot of people think that it's easier to do opening analysis for black because it's easier to find equal lines than it is finding good advantages for white. What do you think of Van Hal? I think he's great, Horace. He's a really nice guy. I have beaten him twice. I'm really happy he won. Winning the candidate seems a bit of a stretch, but I think anyone who's among the 8 players in that tournament is capable of winning it. Because once you've qualified, you've kind of proven yourself at that level. Thank you, Eddie. We'll do this one. Okay, next up, it's Eddie's game. Using the Hammer repertoire. Ooh, and his opponent played a bit weird. But let's see how Eddie coped with that. E4, D6, D4, E6. Now this is very passive. It's not really challenging white at all. So what we want to do is we want to develop our pieces and we want to get the king into safety. Knight F3 is good. Bishop C4 is good. Bishop F4. The thing is, in chess, we often say that knights before bishops. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but it's like a rule of thumb in openings that very often we want to go with the knight first because we're not really sure where the bishop wants to end up. And very often we know where the knight wants to go because the knight initially only has 3 squares, one of which is going to the edge of the board. Very rarely we want to use this opportunity. And the other one is kind of blocking the bishop, but also not having as much central influence as it would if it goes to c3. So very often we say knights before bishops because it's obvious that the knight wants to get in towards the center, and then later on you see what the opponent does before you decide where the bishop needs to go. Who do you think is going to be the next world champion after Magnus? It's really tough to say, MSU. It's really, really tricky to say. Because it's so dependent on whether or not Magnus loses his title in the next 5 years or in the next 15 years. Because that is he could manage to keep his title for another 15 years. I'm pretty convinced of that. And if he manages to do so, the player who's going to take over is going to be maybe even a guy we haven't heard of today. Might be some kid in Iran, in India, one of these countries that have proven themselves to develop so many chess talents. Dirk, we haven't really talked about the Geary withdrawal, but my opinion on the matter is that he's doing what's best for him. And I think it's fine. I remember Area. I have a better memory of the games I win. Biache is soon ready, says Jesper. Yeah, I don't think Biache is going to be the next world champion, I'm afraid. Mr. Sabon, you think that an opening repertoire for black should recommend stuff to do in a must-win situation? I kind of disagree with that. I feel like if you're doing an opening repertoire, it should prioritize what's useful for most people. So I think I'll recommend the classics, but I'm definitely not gonna go crazy advocating lines that are really risky. It goes against my own philosophy, right? What world champion has successfully defended the title most times? Asks Lotto Chess. That's a really good question. And there's definitely an answer to it. But it is an answer I don't know. I would think Anand could be it. Because, I mean, Anand defended his title like once, twice. He did in 08. He did in 10. He did in 12. Oh, that's only 3 times. 8. 6 was Brisago, right? So he did in 8, 10, and 12. And lost it in 13. Okay, so even Anand, who really did a good job defending his title, only managed to defend it 3 times. Karpov was a world champion for a very long time. Lasker with 5, says chat. Brisago is 2003, really? Wow. Lasker defended 5 times. And how many did Kasparov do? I guess Kasparov's match against Shirov got cancelled or something. He defended against Short and Anand and Karpov. Maybe he just defended 3 times as well. Yeah, but Saba, Korneyev is recommending one very specific line, while I'm trying to provide a complete repertoire for every response. And I cannot double my already pretty significant workload by providing extra options in all the different lines. If I was writing a book on just one opening line, that would be a different matter. Nice to meet you. I'll put the game link in our Discord. Thank you for submitting a game. Big Boy also with another submission. Thank you guys for participating. Bateman thinks that 15 years for Carlsen is too much. 10 at most. I don't know, dude. That Carlsen is really good at chess. If Kasparov could be the number 1 player until he was 45, I don't see why Magnus would be any different. Thank you, DDC. I enjoy my training sessions with Alexandra. We'll be doing another one tomorrow if you're following her Twitch channel. Well, I definitely do not count the match against Timon, Jake. Why is the 84 match disputed? Chess history, people. We're being exposed right now. We don't know it. Yeah, that doesn't count, Jake. So Karpov is at 4. Okay, let's take a look at Eddie's game. Why is my arrow not working? Because bishop f4 was played. And after g5, bishop e3, important. Not to get that bishop trapped. The knight gets into the game. Wow, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He is one aggressive dude. Look at that pawn play. I once pushed my pawns 8 times in a row in the opening. It did not work out very well for me. Let's see if Eddie punishes this. Okay, castles, I like it. Get that king to safety. Move the knight that has been attacked. And then a3, very good move. See, because black moved his pawns too far forward. And now it has opened up opportunities for Eddie to strike back. g4, let's move the knight. Very good. Take with the rook. Excellent play so far. Rook c3 is a bit strange. I'm not sure I like the rook's placement here. But if we can get it over to this side with f3 trying to open up against the king, I see some potential. An exchange, knight to g6, good move. And then knight e5. That I think is being too clever, Eddie. Knight e5 is a good move because it opens up an attack against the rook. But honestly, knight takes f8 was also a good move because that captures the bishop and opens up the attack against the rook. So while you did a discovered check, a discovered attack is sometimes just as valuable. And it can even be more valuable because in this situation, when you give that check, you lose the knight. Whereas you would have just traded the knight on f8. Tom, it has to be chess 24 because that works out with my layout. There's good reasons to only allow chess 24 games regardless, but one of the main reasons is that I'm lazy and I need my layout to work out, and chess 24 games are just fit perfectly for my layout. Okay, knight e5. It's a good tactic though. Won the rook and exposed the king. Open king position. I dislike taking with the queen. I know that's shocking coming from me, but in this position, black's king is really vulnerable. And I feel like we should have tried to keep the queens on the board to create a mating attack. Something like bishop takes d4 and then get that queen to d3 and up to g6. Attacking that king, that's going to be a huge issue for white, for black. Jam Snacker, a URL is like the thing that's visible at the top. It's a web address. So you just copy your web address of the game you have played and post it in chat. I don't believe I did answer you, Carlo. How to win with the Benka and Latvian Gambit. And win against all London Rieti Catalan nonsense. Yeah, that sounds like a very specific book, Mr. Sabon. Feels like you're going to have to hire a coach to exclusively guide you through those openings. Sounds tricky. Hey Mary, I'm doing okay. We're doing some game analysis, part of my very tricky marketing scheme to get people to check out my repertoire and play some games on Chess24. Good evening, Alex. How are you doing today? What do you think is the most underrated opening for black against e4? That's a good question, Saba. Underrated? I can't really think of anything. I think a lot of openings have a good reputation against e4 and with good reason. And I don't think there's like a bad or unusual opening choice that has an undeservedly bad reputation. Why don't super GMs play the French defense? DDC, because it's not very good. Well, it can be okay, but it's passive at times. Ooh, Jam Snacker has played his first e4 game in a long while. We'll put that into the list of games. I saved the bishop. Well done, Eddie. Saving the bishop. I'm going to make a new chess shirt. Which player should I have on it? CJ, I assume you already have a Karana shirt, correct? So maybe you want to do a Magnus shirt next? Or Levon? Honestly, you might not even want a shirt. You want to have a shirt with the Levon wearing one of his crazy shirts. You want to have a shirt of a picture with a Levon wearing one of his crazy shirts, and then some kind of like just effect where there's a picture of the himself in the shirt, like all the way. I'm happy to help, CJ. Thank you for spending your 2,000 hammer coins in such brilliant fashion. I believe the Mora Gambit is a terrible opening and losing a pawn, Mr. Sabon. I hope that explains the lack of games. Okay, so Eddie went for the queen exchange. He has kept the bishop pair alive. Well done. Ooh, and look at those bishops. Have you ever seen such a wonderful thing? Working in both directions. Standing in the middle of the board. Also, this rook on c3 suddenly has a perfect location. Ready to go to c5 and attack on the other side as well. Honestly, all of Eddie's pieces are just working together brilliantly. Pushing back the knight, getting the rook up with a double attack on the king and on the bishop. Well done. Ooh, and another tactic, taking out the knight, which was protecting the other knight, winning yet another piece. And just taking everything from the opponent. Just taking everything, getting a new queen, using the queen and rook together to give checkmate. Good game, Eddie. Honestly, that was pretty good. I feel like that was minimum 1600. Oh, sorry. Minimum 1600 rated. Firefly? I don't even know that TV show, Aquila. Is it good? Is it sci-fi? I don't really do sci-fi. We're doing game analysis, Aquila. I do notice that you haven't submitted a game. Are you not interested in being in the running for our 6-month extension? You can't get a good game. Feels bad, man. Well, I think C Nation, one of the problems with the Mora Gambit is that worst case, black can just play a C3 Sicilian. So even if you think the Gambit is good, which, you know, it's probably not, but if you think the Gambit is good, there's just a really easy way to dodge it by going into a C3 Sicilian instead, which is also not really very dangerous for black. C Nation, I think I actually have a copy of Zurich. Are we going to try to pronounce that in an English fashion or a German one? Zurich. I think I actually have a copy of that original book. I remember there was some guy who actually just sent me. He was like, "Oh, I have this old great chess book. I think you will appreciate this much more than me." And then I haven't even read it. Because I haven't really read anything the last 10 years of my life. Mr. Sabon, I go knight f6. After c3. Knight f6, e5. Transposes into c3 Sicilian. Also, you can go d5 if you prefer that. I'm eating a pepperkake, Clumsy Rook. I disagree with the majority of your opening suggestions. Wow, Aquila. He's not really being very diplomatic, is he? Yo, you're a boring player. I'm an aggressive player. I refuse to play your recommendations. Wow, Conte Yellow, just as I make fun of Aquila, he goes in Chess24 chat and says, "Isn't the Nimsa Witch played more rarely than it deserves?" No, the answer to that is no. Aquila's favorite opening is already being played way too much. It does not deserve any more attention. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. The Marshall Gambit is a really good opening alpha star. Really good opening. Saba, Elephant Gambit is not that bad. I don't know. It's pretty bad though, isn't it? Maybe also I didn't recommend the best thing. I don't recall. I thought my recommendation against the Elephant Gambit was pretty good though. I'm not really trying to refute stuff. I'm just trying to play logical chess, developing the pieces. What chess books did I read? Horace, most of the chess books I did read is in the books command we sent to you earlier. I read a lot of Avruk. I've read Michal Mahin. I read Rouse and stuff like that. Guido, I don't think it's super good, but I don't think it's super bad. You can check out the video series for my recommendations against it. How do you really, CJ? Oh, that's the problem of being a streamer. You talk a lot and you say a lot of stupid things because you're covering all of this time on the air. And then people will sometimes download what you say and use it against you. Who's got the winning game so far? The jury is still out, Aquila. I am not revealing any information into the jury's thinking until we reach November 1st. And I have played through all of the submissions for October. I don't know if I will ever write a chess book on Nabunna. It's a lot of work. Clumsy Rook, we're analyzing any game. If you played a game on Chess24, we're analyzing it, given that you used the hammer repertoire with the white pieces. I mean, Z Nation, it's in reference to all his books. I mean, my favorite ones is the his Spanish repertoire for Black and the Learn from the Legends. Those are my favorite Marin books, but I have Secrets of Attack I read more than once as well. I think he's just very good and yeah. Very often I find it better to recommend good authors rather than good books. Because good authors will have like 5 good books. So you have more material to work with. Dirk, I've asked for that information and they have said that they'll be able to provide it to me soon once they organize something. But yeah, I have specifically asked for information on how it's doing. In general, they're telling me that feedback is great, which is nice. But I am one of those people who trust more action than words, right? So even though Chess24 is saying they're happy with how the series is doing, to me, I feel like I would like to see whether that also is, you can kind of see that in the numbers. No, Dyer, I didn't have time to make a repertoire for Black, but I'm hoping to do so by the end of first quarter 2020. So it's just a matter of me finding enough time to do it, which at the moment I do not have. I'm very busy the next 4 weeks. Speaking of which, if you do !schedule, you will see my upcoming streams. And you will also see that I only have one upcoming stream. And that is because next week is the start of the Fisher Random Championship in Oslo. And after that, I'm traveling for business. And after that, I'm traveling to a tournament in Montenegro. And I'll basically be out of business until like the 15th of November. So I'll have 3 really busy weeks in a row. So make sure to get your Hammer Repertoire games in. I'll try to make some time next week to look through more of them. And maybe we can even have a decision on stream. Let's see. Um, yeah, so maybe I'll try to do a morning stream on Friday, November 1st, to announce the winner of the competition. But other than that, I'll be very busy, I'm afraid. Winning repertoire for black? I don't know, Sabon. That's asking a bit much. Do you respond comments, questions in your video series? I mean, random name, you can just look through the entire series. I've been answering almost every comment the last week. So I've responded to a lot of comments, but some people are just, yeah, some people don't get an answer, but that's just because I'm upset with what they wrote. Do you and Olgor get along well? I don't really know him very well, Saba. What are we supposed to do for 3 weeks? I don't know. I'll host people. I mean, I have the auto host functionality. If you just come to twitch.tv/GMJLH, I got all the good hosts. I'll show you some good content. Snav, thank you so much for your comment. He says that he loves my repertoire. Secrets of Attacking Chess. The author is Michal Malkin Conte. My favorite movie? There's so many good movies. I can't really pick and choose one. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine last month. I feel like there's this movie. What is it called again? It's with Simon Baker and Stanley Tucci. It's got so many of my favorite guys in it. Simon Baker movie bank. Margin Call. There's Margin Call. It's a really good movie. IMDb has it at 7.1, which is incredible. Because it's a financial thriller. How do you like that for a description of a movie? Financial thriller. It's really, really good. Who are the guys who doesn't stream but would be good? Bateman, I would love to see Anish Giri. Oh my god. Can you think about... Chad, actually, this is a good question for you as well. If you could get one chess player to stream, who would you get? Basically, what I'm asking is, would you get Anish or would you get Levon? Yeah, CJ. That's... I said that before you wrote that. Ooh, Grishchuk is a good call as well, Sane. Yeah, I think Anish would just be a natural Hyata man. Of course you love Aronian's humor, Aquila. It's basically mimicking your own. You're basically complimenting yourself right now. Which part is my elephant recommendation? Dirk, it's in... sorry, messing up. Elephant is together with the Petrov. What are the names of all of these videos? 1 e4 e5 non-Rui Lopez lines, Dirk. Non-Rui Lopez. I absolutely love that Magnus is regularly doing Banter Blitz videos. Yeah, that's another good reason to get your Chess24 premium memberships. That you can participate in the Banter Blitz sessions playing against Magnus, the king himself. I know that Anish already streamed Ulan, but he's not doing it regularly. And the fact that he's done it in the past proves that he would be amazing. Because he was really good that one time. Judith Polgar? Yeah, that's a good shout. Spielman? Wow. That's interesting, Mr. Sabon. Yasser? Yeah, honestly, Jake, Yasser should have his own channel. We shouldn't be dependent on the chess bros to give us the Yasser fix we need. What is the Hammer repertoire? Jenny, it is a video series I've made at Chess24. It's really good, I swear. Yeah, Nils is also interesting pizza. Yasser streaming while wife was doing the dishes? Wow, jerk. Yeah, Musichuk would be interesting, Saba. Aquila, this is something I have from Magnus. And what Magnus likes to say that if I don't laugh at my own jokes, how can I expect others to? So I'm saying that my video series is really good. I know because I made it. And then, you make the decision whether or not you want to trust my opinion or not. Giri streamed on his wife's channel, Supernova. His wife is Sopiku Guhamashvili. Nihal? I don't know, Mr. Sabon. Maybe. No, Slumka, we're not making a subreddit. Absolutely not. Oh, you already have a good meme? Okay, I'm copying that link. Checking it out. Okay, that is actually timeout worthy. I cannot unsee that. Don't click that link, people. You'll regret it. Should you stream? No, CJ. Give the rest of us a chance. Henry, yeah, all the pros are gonna know my repertoire, but I'm fixing it by never playing another chess game in my life. So it's gonna work out. Wow, even Aquila thought it was taking it too far. That's when you know you deserve the full 10 minutes timeout. Yeah, I saw that random name. Karpov is playing a tournament in Sweden. Our neighbors. Honestly, Sweden has a tournament where they actually allow their best players to participate against world-class opposition. If only we had any of that in Norway, huh? I played a lot in Sweden, perpetual. I also played in the Siegemund tournament once or twice. Do you think the upsurge of Norwegian chess will continue? Yeah, I think for the moment we're still having chess broadcasts on national TV. And I think that really is a huge influence on recruitment. And in general, just having parents think that chess is an interesting endeavor and something that can be beneficial to their kids. So I think as long as chess remains in mainstream Norwegian media, it's going to help us recruit. And the more people we have managed to recruit, the more chances we have of having good players in the future. I don't really go out random name, but Magnus does or did go out a lot. It's definitely possible for him, but he gets recognized. It has its pros and its cons. I'm assuming the pros are pretty, doesn't need to be explained. I get recognized sometimes, Saba, but not all the time. Once in a while. Does the Norwegian Chess Federation accept people from other federations if they decide to transfer? I don't know, Zoe. I think the best way of doing it would be just to move to Norway. And then they will accept you doing a transfer for sure. Pretty much proves how bad Norway is at other sports. Perpetual. What are you talking about? We are the #1 winning country in the world for Winter Olympics. We, a country of 5 million people, have won the most medal in the Winter Olympics. Not compared to number of inhabitants and stuff like that. Just overall. We've beaten the Soviets, we've beaten the Russians, we've beaten the Americans. We're #1. The Germans also, although the only winter sport the Germans win is the skeleton. But there's so many skeleton competitions that they rack up a lot of gold medals. I wonder how many Germans I provoked with that comment. Okay, that's one thought. GreatestSportingNation.com. You know when the stream fact checker Ulan is ready to back up my comments? You guys, you don't stand a chance. Ulan, I'm kind of relying on you to be a proper Norwegian and post links that show Norway is great. Okay, we're #10. That's decent. It's not really what I expected, but it's okay. We've dropped 3 spots. That's disappointing. But I specifically did say winter sports, though. Best per capita, but I just made the point that we were best regardless of capita. Soccer is the most popular in Norway, random name, but we are really terrible at it. Oh, Zwischenzug. Yeah, biathlon. At some point you were good at that. I'm not sure you are still, though. You had that one girl, but I think she retired, no? What's her name again? Dahlmeyer? Yeah, shooting is biathlon, CJ. And Langen is cross-country skiing. I just made a hilarious bio of myself. If you go to playmagnus.com, you can see the hilarious bio I wrote. I really put an effort into it. It's some of my best writing. Some of my best writing ever. Let's see. How do we share a link to this? Copy link address. Okay, I'm actually really happy with this. I think the prose is just right. Okay, here I go. What? Oh, it's acting out on my screen. Wait, what? Are you guys having problems scrolling that page? Can you get below that stupid FPL screenshot? Okay, I may have to deal with that. Why does your profile picture look like a mugshot? Aquila. I would copy paste it, Perpetual. I just... No problems? It works? Okay. Well, then you guys read it, because I can't. I can't. Why is it not working on my end? You look good. Thank you. I agree. I think it's a nice picture. Okay, it turns out I cannot get past this silly... Okay. Oh, wow. CJ is just copy pasting everything. Same shirt. That is true, Shroon. Same shirt. It's a good shirt. Very good teeth job. I don't know what that even means, Hiata man. Okay, CJ has posted in chat. As a kid, Hammer competed in both soccer, highlight winning the Urake School Recess Championship with some amazing goalkeeping, and cross-country skiing, highlight once he didn't finish last in a race. However, possessing a winner's mentality and having the temperament to match it, finding a game with a consistent winning streak was important. Chess became the solution, and he spent much of his childhood winning, helped by the fact that Magnus was already competing with grandmasters at that age. He became a grandmaster at 18, beating the reigning world champion Magnus, and got a 2700 rating at 25. These days, he's trying to conquer new areas, spending a lot of time making one-man chess shows on Twitch. Finding his way in the gaming maze that is Twitch, he's also given the shooting game and world craze Fortnite a go. But currently the successes don't compare to his soccer highlights, not to mention the chess ones. Jon Ludvig has made a name for himself in Norway as a chess commentator, putting a year and a half of journalism studies to good use, although a degree remains uncompleted. He claims to have 5 different jobs, and yet he's rarely awake before 10 in the mornings. In his spare time, Hammer sometimes visits Oslo's chess pub, which is located 300 meters from his house. A freak accident, he claims. Although the chess pub bartenders don't need a cue beyond his arrival to provide the favorite drink, water with lime. Or is it ice water with lime? Yeah, Saba, you think we should combine cross-country skiing and chess? Honestly, Norway would just be too OP though. Magnus is a pretty decent skier. Bateman, I have all the biscuits. There's just a never-ending supply. They're basically giving them away at the store. Hey Bill, how you doing? Let's troll Hammer a bit more. Aquila, you cannot troll me after that. Although I agree some of the prose was a bit iffy in the second paragraph, but I was really happy with that one. Instead of shooting, there would be 5 tactics to solve every round. Honestly, Onabona, if you continue creating some ideas around this, I think we can make this happen. Magnus versus Hammer versus Northug. Oh my god, that would be a best-selling hit in Norwegian television. Magnus is both a better skier than me and a better chess player. But I having the cross-country guys, they're actually really into chess. You know, when you're an athlete, you have all of this time where basically you're just recouping from all the physical practice training you've had. So yeah, combining chess and cross-country skiing definitely should be a thing. I might steal that idea as well. I tend to steal a lot of chat's ideas, but that's kind of my right when you're here. I'm sorry. CJ, I'm not sure you fully understand what ampasam means. Oh, you're just implying it's a capture? Yeah, maybe. Curling in chess is even better. Sliding your chess pieces. Yeah, maybe. I've tried curling, Shroon. It's incredibly difficult. You know how on TV it looks so easy? It's really not. Curling is very tricky. Yeah, Eddie, I suppose the cross-country skiers have kind of the ones I watched when I had a TV, which is like 5 years ago. It's not the same people being good at skiing right now. Are you better than Magnus in basketball? No. So random name, I am worse than Magnus at basically everything other than chess commentary, chess streaming, beach volleyball, chess, and soccer, and running. So I have beaten Magnus at running, I have beaten him at beach volleyball, and I have beaten him at chess. Basically, he's so good at so many different things. Chess is one of the areas in which I am the closest to his skill level. No, he's a way better sleeper than me, Jam. Once we had this layover at a really stupid airport. I think it was Frankfurt. And we needed to do stay at the airport for 6 hours during the night because we had to catch a morning flight to Crete. And the guy just fell asleep on this incredibly uncomfortable chair with a loudspeaker security announcement being broadcasted every 10 minutes just nearby. Clearly you've given it more thought than me, CJ. Yeah, you that's definitely gonna need some explaining, but then you have their attention at least. Wondering if we will see another game today? No, we're done with the chess for today. You know your country sucks at sports when it takes curling seriously. What are you talking about, Perpetual? Canada and Norway are like most important countries in the world. It's the complete opposite. When you take curling seriously, you know that you're like top, one of the most important countries in the world. That's just top tier. Who will be my next opponent at the Banter Cup? Horace, it's going to be either Adrian Demuth or Sergei Movsesian. Ooh, Aquila, I did forget Fortnite. I'm definitely better than Magnus at Fortnite. Yeah, Dirk, my running abilities to beat Magnus is pretty specific. I'm good at low kind of short distances. I tend to find 60 meters being a bit too stamina demanding. But I would crush him in a 40 meter dash. Eddie Magnus was doing commentary for TV2 when I was participating in the Norway Chess Qualifier of 2015. He was not my boss though, because I was competing in that tournament while he was doing commentary. And I am a better commentator than him. That if anything, that probably proves it. But he was interesting. I found it very interesting watching Magnus's commentary after the fact on games I played myself. Because his instincts are unique. Jake, I mean, we're pitching that to a reality show ASAP. Norway, the sun was once seen there in the summer of 72. Surfing Ripper, honestly, Norway is amazing. Norway in May, best place on earth. But right now, we don't have that much sun. That is correct, yes. Oh yeah, Hiata man, I'm better at speaking English. Let's put that on the list. How do you spend your hammers? Honestly, self, I don't know. I haven't tested out the system myself. You can use them to highlight your messages. You can use them to get like a sub emote for 24 hours. That's a pretty good one. Stuff like that. Yeah. Work in the morning. Feels like working class hero. Also fits very well with your username. Okay, we're going to be continuing doing game analysis in the future. I hope as many of you are interested in participating. There's 6 months of Chess24 premium membership on the line. Play some E4 games on Chess24. Send the games into our competition channel on Discord. If you're in Twitch chat, you'll find a link to Discord right now. Any plans on a 24-hour stream? No, Surfing Ripper. I do not wish myself ill health. That's 24-hour stream is ridiculously tough. And I'm just not going to expose myself to it. Should get a sub when you reach 1 million. I agree, Gondolias. But unfortunately, I feel like Twitch still needs to work on what kind of Twitch specific things they can unlock those channel points. Yeah, Perpetual. I think you got that right. Ooh, Eddie, you're right. I was thinking of a different occasion. Yeah, Magnus was the host of the TV2 broadcast of Norway Chess in 2018. I'm still a better commentator than him, I feel, though. Just, don't clip this and show it to him. Oh, but you are obviously better. Well, thank you, Eddie. Do you write chess software? No, Henry. I consult. I tell them you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do this. Or you should do this. And then other people do the actual, skillful programming and stuff like that. Kramnik is doing commentary at Norway Chess next year. I saw that. It was announced today. That's pretty cool. Kramnik is a big name. That's a big get for Norway Chess. Also, probably really expensive. But it's cool. It shows that tournaments are investing in doing their broadcasts, right? They're trying to get the best people. Ooh, Anna is alive and Jesse is alive. I think Anna is not playing chess, but frankly, neither have we the last half an hour. So we'll send you over to Anna. "10 minutes for a small mistake is way too long." Yeah, but that was not a small one, Sumka. That was over the line. Okay, see everyone. We're rating Anna. She actually has inspired me a bit. Because I've been streaming more Fortnite. And part of the reason why I've been doing that is because I kind of saw Anna doing the... she's been doing her own thing, and she doesn't care what other people think. She kind of just showed me that you can do your own thing. You can play a game you're not good at. You can just do whatever you feel is right. And so the hammer rages in Fortnite have partially been given to you by Anna's pioneering work and all the weird stuff she's doing. But I'll see you back to on Friday 6 p.m. That's noon Eastern. We'll be doing some blitz games. Please keep sending me games for analysis. We will do another game analysis, I think, October 1st. But I'm going to be very busy in the coming 3 weeks. So number of streams definitely going down. Okay, bye everyone.